During an all-party global outreach campaign, Tharoor-led delegation met US Vice President J.D. Vance. Tharoor claimed that the meeting was outstanding and totally supportive of our stand on the Pahalgam terror attack and the aftermath, and accepted India's right to respond. Tharoor also stressed that there can be no equivalence between those who harbour terrorists and those who are victims of terrorism. Now, Tejas Surya, also a part of the delegation, called the meeting with J.D. Vance fantastic and said that Vance expressed unwavering support for the Indian government in its counter-terrorism efforts. Let's take you through some of the reactions that's come into the story so far before we proceed with the discussion with Amit Bhardwaj joining us on the bulletin.
We had a really wonderful meeting with Vice President Vance. He was warm, welcoming, had warm memories of his visit to India, totally supportive of our stand on Pahalgam and on the aftermath and accepting our right to respond as we did. And then we talked about areas of future collaboration in other areas, including AI and very positive vibes, as it were, throughout the meeting. So I would say that we got our messages across. I don't want to go into details. Equally, we got back a tremendous amount of positive energy from him.
Vice President Vance was unequivocal, categorical in his support for India's stance against terrorism. He was very clear that India exercised its right to deter further terrorist attacks from Pakistan and sympathized. He also expressed complete support to the government of India in its fight against terror. He was also greatly appreciative of the responsible restraint that India showed even after repeated provocations by Pakistan, and India very sternly dealing with the issue both militarily as well as diplomatically.
This was a very good engagement, I would say. Overall, seeing these parties get together in a time we've got political divide in most countries, that's a historic achievement unto itself. But talking not so much about the reaction with the terror attacks and India's reaction, but more about India's growth story and the fact that hopefully this can be another launch point to try to attract investment and help to build the economy, because ultimately that's the biggest bulwark against terrorism, when people have opportunities and growth, and India's really leading the way.
Well, I think this was a very useful briefing by a diverse group of Indian parliamentarians, and we heard what their priorities are with the U.S.-India relationship, and we also heard their perspective on the horrific terrorist attack that happened on April 22nd in Kashmir, and then we heard about India's response to that horrific terrorist attack on May 7th. And so I think it was a good way to build understanding about what happened in India, why India responded the way it did. And I think that what we heard is there is large agreement between the U.S. and India when it comes to countering terrorism, that you cannot stand back when you are attacked by terrorists, that there must be a response, or the terrorists are just going to come back and do the same thing again.
With that, Amit Bhardwaj with us on the bulletin to, in fact, put things into perspective. Amit, very good morning to you firstly, but wouldn't you say it's an interesting set of remarks we are receiving from the American government representatives, given that Trump had initially come in to take credit about the fact that he was the one, or rather his government was the one to mediate between this very situation that had panned out, and also to put a halt and put ceasefire in between?
Shreya, the all eyes back here in the country were also fixed on America and the delegation which is in America, meeting the officials of the Trump administration, because it was the POTUS statement that has steered a lot of storm within the country and at global level as well, where Donald Trump claimed that he is the one who brokered the deal between India and Pakistan for that ceasefire which happened between the armed forces of the both countries, or rather India and Pakistan, both countries, after Operation Sindoor. Now, the statement that has come from Mr. Shashi Tharoor, who's leading that delegation, is very interesting, and what needs to be underlined out here is how Mr. Tharoor told America that, you cannot use the word mediation, because mediation is a word which is used for countries at par. But in this particular case, you have two countries, one which harbors terrorism, and India, which is on the receiving end, and we are a multi-party democracy. So that message has been also put across by India in as clear words possible. What I also want to underline out here, Shreya, for our viewers' understanding is that, J.D. Vance, the Vice President of America, was very much in India, rather in Jaipur. And moments after Pahalgam terror attack happened on April 22nd, I was at Jaipur Information Center where J.D. Vance was speaking, and he had mentioned about India and America's military cooperation, as to how both countries need to keep their national security as priority. And
Amit, that's a very important point that you have highlighted, definitely.